Hey, good evening to you, everybody. How are you? It is good to see you. It is good to be seen by you. I am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud and clear, late on a Thursday evening. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful time. We had a great show last night. We had Tim Imholt on, and we talked about Tom Clancy and techno thrillers and tabletop gaming and Indiana Jones and spies and all kinds of fun stuff. It was a lot of fun. And if you missed it, you can check it out. You can actually just dip down and click that subscribe button and then check out the channel and you can watch the whole live stream again. My live streams stay up forever. As long as YouTube's around, my live streams will be around. So anyway, Gonzalo Lira's bar tab, good to see you. Michael Dale, Gary Bovey, and I gather there are a few more of you folks out there watching. I know it's a late start tonight. I know it's a little bit later than usual. You will have to forgive me. I've been busy, and I want to talk about that a little bit tonight. So, uh, oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad I waited late. I want to talk a little bit about a few different things that are on my mind, and I want to take any questions you guys have got. Um, the first and most important is if you're a new subscriber, and you might be, and if you are, welcome. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad to have you here. Uh, we do a thing every spring slash early summer called the GUOC, the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention. It is exactly what it says on the tin. It is a convention, a gaming convention, a tabletop gaming convention, not computer games, not certainly not LARPs, but it's tabletop gaming, and we play right here on the internet. We have a Discord set up for it. The cost is $0. It doesn't cost you a penny to play at the convention. We don't do tiered badges. We don't do anything like that. Of course, there's no travel cost. There's no lodging cost. Any snacks come out of your grocery bill. But the one thing we do have is we have some pretty cool merch, and you can get merch for every Great Underground Online Gaming Convention, going all the way back to the first. Those have been done in years past by the Dungeon Minister. And just to let you know, he and I divide that evenly. That is an even split between he and I. But also, this year, we have some merch as well done by Sky Hernstrom. That's right, pulp author, extraordinary writer, Sky Hernstrom, and I want to show some of that off because it's really really cool. So let's take a look at that. It's not the button I wanted. Share screen. They changed things on me a little bit. They changed things on me a little bit. And let's add that to the thing. So that is the Monster Guac Bowl by Sky. We have a couple of different logos. That's the first one by Sky. That is the second one by Sky. I call that the Nuke Strike, or the Endless Summer, if you prefer something a little less martial. But Dungeon Minister has got us this horrible thing that I absolutely love. So you can get that on t-shirts, mugs, pint glasses, what have you. All this cool merch. And I will have the link for the merch for you guys the closer we get to the actual convention, because I think we want to get that set up pretty soon. So you hear me talking about the Discord where this is at, the Discord. Let me show you that actual Discord address. It's right here. It is right there in the chat. And in case you're one of those folks watching over on X and you can't see the chat that we have here on YouTube, there it is on the screen. That Discord channel is where you go to register to play in games and to register to run games. Now, what kind of games are going to be played? Well, I can tell you there's going to be some first edition AD&D. There's going to be some OD&D. There's going to be some basic expert played there. There's going to be some board games. We're going to play Dungeon. We're going to play Space Hulk. And God willing, we're going to play some Hero Quest this year. So we're going to have a whole lot of fun this year at the GUOC, and I hope you'll be there. We have panels. Oh boy, do we have panels. We have got for panelists, we have author Alyssa Hazel. She's doing a panel on Wednesday. Sky Hernstrom, who did some of the art, he's doing a panel. We've got Matt Finch of Mythmere Games. He's doing a panel. What else? We have Richard Witters, Wizards of the Coast artist Richard Witters is doing an artist panel. Tracy Lesh is doing an artist panel. So we have so many cool panels. Be there for it. Be there for it. Come to the panels, enjoy the whole con experience at a cost of $0. Dark Tower, I wish. There is a way to play Dark Tower online, though. If anyone wants to break that out and be like, yeah, we're gonna play Dark Tower at the GUOC through the online Dark Tower emulator, please, excuse me, it's a little late. Yeah. Please feel free to do that. Feel free to do that. So, yeah, it's just going to be a whole lot of fun. I think it would behoove you. Do you feel like being hooved? Now, I just want to preface this by saying, I don't know if they're going to run games. I don't know if they're going to play in games. I don't know if they want to do a panel, but Eric Garland and Heidi Gygax Garland are going to be at the con. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. So I will be talking to them about what exactly they're going to be doing at the GUOC, and I'm excited about it. So hopefully they will they will possibly be in your games. But anyway, if you need help, getting set up for like signing up for a game or signing up to run a game, reach out to us on the Discord and we will be more than happy to help you. Doomsword has made it simpler than it has ever been via the bot, the event bot that we have over on the Discord. We did a live stream about it. It's so easy to sign up via the event bot. So get in there, get into games. Gonzalo Lear is running games. No asking for help moving a fridge up 3 flights of stairs. No asking for help moving a fridge up 3 flights of stairs, which, I mean, really, you strap it to a dolly and then just, one person to make sure that it doesn't fall and another person to just heave it backwards 1 step at a time, or a couple of people. That's all you can do. So that's the GUOC. That's the GUOC. And I will take any question you guys have got about the GUOC. Most questions within reason. And speaking of questions within reason, Gonzalo Lira bar tab hits close to my heart of heart, and asked what is the most underrated rule or group of rules in first edition. That's a that's a fine question. I would say underrated because so many people never, ever, ever read the end of the player's handbook, and they come to tears because of it. In the back of the player's handbook, there is a section for players. It's not there for dungeon masters. It's called the Player's Handbook. Says it right on the tin. The Player's Handbook. In the back of this book, hang on a second, I'm getting there. This may actually be old enough that it doesn't have those appendices in there. I think it doesn't. I think this is a true first enough that it doesn't have those appendices. Well, in the back of some of these books, there is a section titled Successful Adventures. And the Successful Adventures section is very important because it contains one of the most important admonishments. One of the most important admonishments. And it is avoid unnecessary encounters. The number of so-called horror stories about mean old hard-headed Gary Gygax's D&D that I hear from players start when they talk about how there we were walking through the forest and we saw a thing and we drew our weapons and attacked it and then it killed the party. Who could have foreseen this? In the Player's Handbook, it reads very clearly, avoid unnecessary encounters. Avoid unnecessary. If you don't have to fight the thing, don't fight the thing. Oh, but it was a monster and it was attacking us. Did you have rations? Did you think to throw food at it? Do you think to bribe it? Did you think to just run the hell away? Avoid unnecessary encounters. Oh, blah, 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 blah. First edition is so arbitrary and the characters could just die. Blah, blah, blah. Avoid unnecessary encounters. And an encounter isn't just a bunch of giants standing there with clubs holding up a sign that says, "Welcome, adventurers." The unidentified magic ring is an encounter. The unidentified cloak is an encounter. Oh, my character just grabbed that magic cloak and put it on and fell over dead. Did you cast Identify on it first? Then you didn't avoid an unnecessary encounter. There is a mindset that if it exists in the game, then it is clearly there for the PCs to climb on, over, under, through, and poke around. It's not. There's doors all over my house, all over my house. All kinds of doors that lead into all kinds of things. On that wall over there, there is a door about 30 inches high, 10 inches wide, made of metal. Little pull latch on it. I don't need to open that door. There's an electrical box. Well, it is an electrical box. It is a junction box. If I open that door, there's a bunch of breakers. If I go poking in there, there will be no Delver's Dungeon show tomorrow night. I don't have to poke in there. There's plenty of other doors I can open. Avoid unnecessary encounters. DMs forgot this too. It's how we ended up with railroady shit like the Dragonlance modules. I hope Yodeno is watching this. Anyway. Just avoid unnecessary encounters. Just don't do the things. Well, do we have to fight the dragon? Well, the dragon is asleep. We have a magic user who can cast invisibility 10-foot radius. We have a cleric who can cast silence 15-foot radius. We have a magic carpet that the whole party can fit on. We have telekinesis and Tensor's floating disc. The dragon is lying next to its treasure pile, or on its treasure pile, but there's some around it. Do you want to wake the dragon up and fight it? All right, we'll draw swords. If you have the means to avoid encounter, use them. That, Gonzalo Lira, is the most underrated rule or set of rules in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Most of AD&D is largely suggestions. Suggestions to the DM. Here's how you can create a kingdom. There's all forms of government listed in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Here are purported properties of gems and herbs. Here's suggested ways to distribute treasure. Here's recommended reading for inspiration. Thank you, Gonzalo. First of all, thank you for the super. And thank you for telling me, you guys, you hid from it. But if you can get all the treasure and just leave the dragon sleeping, why not? When the dwarves sent Bilbo through the secret door into Smaug's lair, they didn't say, go down there and taunt Smaug. They said, go have a look around. They knew he was probably, that the dragon was probably in the lair. They said, burgle something. Bilbo did not avoid an unnecessary encounter. Well, to be fair, Smaug woke up and smelled him. And had Bilbo not hidden very carefully behind things, he would have been seen. So that's it. That is the most underrated thing in first edition AD&D. Anyway, I think I've said my piece on it. Jack Photon, where's a rule that explicitly states one spell per round? Just teasing, it doesn't exist. Yeah. Yes, that is another one. And a stronghold can simply be the bank in a town if it's few enough and you trust the innkeeper to leave your room locked and unmolested while you're out and about. It can be, you know, an iron chest in your shared inn room or whatever. But yeah, you have to get the stuff out of the dungeon. The treasure. You have to get the treasure out of the dungeon. Didn't we talk about spending coins should be the XP, not getting it? I haven't, because I don't agree with that. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I think that kind of goes without saying for most role playing games. I say most role playing games because there are Thespi drama games that dress themselves up in the skin of role playing games and state right on the boxes they're there to make you miserable, that it's not supposed to be a fun time. There's one or two, and I'm not going into which ones they are. Anyway, um, play one shots, no need for XP. You know, I was talking about this, and this was a funny thing that came up. I do go on about interactions online. And I still think TTRPG Twitter is awesome. I am the king of it, by the way. I am the king of TTRPG Twitter. So you may kiss the ring. You may all bow down and kiss my ring. Anyway, as the most prominent member of TTRPG Twitter, when I speak, people listen. So there I was, and then I said there I was, perambulating across Twitter, and I saw a shared post, and someone made the comment, said, people talking about how miniatures just started being a thing in D&D in 4th edition. Meanwhile, this is D&D in 1975, and there's a picture, I think of J.E. Holmes with just like a crap ton of miniatures out on the table, black and white photo. But hey, Ardu, good to see you. But so this sort of got bandied back and forth, and I quote tweeted it, and I made the comment that, you know, miniatures have always been miniatures were listed as a part of D&D in original D&D. Rules for fantastic medieval war game campaigns with paper and pencil and miniature figures. Miniature figures. You're very welcome, Ardu. Yes, it was. David Brown, Zeus is doing well. He has settled back down to his typical grumpy old man attitude, and he's doing great now. Thank you for asking. So, excuse me. Getting back to it. So yes, I quote tweeted it and made the comment. And I said, I was using miniatures back in 1981, which I was. I didn't start playing D&D until 1981. I've never said anything different. And someone said to me, you should do better research. Miniatures were part of D&D going back to Chainmail, which became Dungeons. Chainmail became Dungeons and Dragons. Chainmail did not become Dungeons and Dragons, guys. Has similar concepts. I mean, they're just not the same. But with that said, and I bring that up because somebody made a comment just a few minutes ago about just run one shots. Who was that? I'm gonna scroll back. Just run one shots. Orbital Air said just play one shots. You can play a one shot D&D game with just chainmail. Chainmail has no rules for advancement, but has dwarves, elves, halflings, humans. It has alignment. It has monsters. It has spells. It has 2 hit and damage tables. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You can play a one-shot D&D game just using chainmail. I'm just saying you can do it. You should try it one day. I mean, by that metric, you can also play a one-shot D&D game using Dungeon, the board game Dungeon. Dice Tales, I don't know. People just seemed argumentative about them. Or one person seemed argumentative about the matter. I shouldn't say people as if to imply. Most everybody else was like, yeah, miniatures have been I've been using them since 81. I've been, I used them since 79. Oh, I didn't start till late second edition. There were a couple of people who said, yeah, I don't like them. We've been playing since 89 and it's all theater of the mind. Whatever. I don't lean on people for using or for not using miniatures. If I show up with a kick-ass miniature, and you're like, yeah, dude, I don't use miniatures. He will sit there on the table and watch over my dice for me. I wish I could stop yawning. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe I'm not getting enough oxygen here. So, we're at about the halfway mark. I don't know how long I'm going to make it tonight, guys. I was very much like hyped about this, but oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Orbital Air. The beauty nowadays is that you can make miniatures that like passable miniatures with FDM. You can make fantastic miniatures with resin, but you shouldn't buy a resin printer. So I want to tell you guys a little something that I've been up to. I have been teaching myself to code. Not particularly well, not particularly advanced. I have been teaching myself to code. And I set a graduation exercise for myself. I've talked before on this show about the Dungeon Master's Assistant, volumes 1 and 2. They were originally released for, let me see if I can do all of this, guys. The Apple IIe, the Atari 400 and 800, I should say the Apple II, the Atari 400 and 800, the Commodore 64, the IBM PC Junior, the IBM PC, the Apple Macintosh, the Commodore Amiga, I think the Atari ST, someone can check me on that, possibly the PC 98, the Japanese kind of quasi console PC. So if you want to use them, first of all, they're abandonware. I used to be able to tell people they're right here on this site. Just go download them. They say Dungeons and Dragons on them, which means they belong to Hasbro. And as a result, Hasbro has kind of shut all that down. I think the one place that you could get them is Apple's Asimov FTP site. Apple somehow in the 90s finagled a perpetual ownership license of anything published for the Apple II computer. And you can go to the Asimov website and download disk images, Apple disk images, and then you can write them or run them in an emulator. So, oh, that's very neat, David Brown. The character in a little plastic frame on the table. I like that idea. So even if you find them today, because they're slightly unobtainium, you got to run them through DOSBox or DOSBox X or some other emulator, depending on what disk images you get. You know, WinUAE if you've got Amiga, any number of various Macintosh emulators, or Atari emulators, or Commodore 64 emulators, or what have you. Characters and treasures is really simple. You make a D&D character with a little toggle switch to turn on or off Unearthed Arcana, which you should. Encounters is a little bit different. You can kind of muddle your way through encounters, but you can forget adding your own monsters, editing existing monsters, and so on and etc. without the manual. I have the manual for Dungeon Master's Assistant Volume 2 Encounters, or maybe it's Volume 1, I don't remember, for the encounters. And I went hog wild. I took the Fiend Folio. I took a very simple monster from the Fiend Folio. I typed it up. I made an entry for it. I could see it in my directory, and it would just stop working when I would try and edit. It's David Brown. It's just the Asimov, Apple II Asimov or something like that. If you just type Apple II Asimov into a search bar, you're going to find a link to it. And it's hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of Apple software for various purposes. Take care, Orbital Air. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. It's not easy to use, is what I'm saying. Dungeon Master's Assistant is not easy to use. You can forget printing from it. It will produce stuff that you can open with Notepad, like the characters. But if you edit anything in Notepad, you can't open it again in the Dungeon Master's Assistant, because it does something to the file that doesn't, just makes it where it won't work anymore. Now, years ago, when I was taking some classes at the local university, I said, I'm going to replicate the functions of the Dungeon Master's Assistant. I learned, I took a couple of VB classes, a Visual Studio class. I said, I'm going to do this. And I didn't. And I kind of pondered this for a while. And then I thought, well, wait a second. There's compiled executables, .exe files. Is there a way to uncompile them and then put the source into a modern compiler and recompile them once you figure out what the source is? And the short answer is yes, but no. I actually found something that would, hang on, Michael Dale, I'm getting there. I actually found something that would decompile DOS EXEs. Well, let me back up. I looked at the source code in a hex editor. Right at the top of each EXE, copyright 1990 Borland Corporation. They were written in Borland Turbo C and written and compiled in Borland Turbo C. Hey, wonderful Wizard of Games. Not much. I'm meandering tonight. So I dug around and I found a Borland Turbo C decompiler that someone had written, got it to run in Windows, and decompiled them. Took all that stuff, stuck it into Visual Studio, and Visual Studio said, I understand what you're trying to do, but this is missing so many pieces. It's just... So I was stymied, and I just went back to using it in DOS boxes. Hey, it works fine. DOSBox X has got a, right click and select all function, but it always ate at me. So I'm a man who has time on his hands. And over the past few weeks, when I should have been writing other things, I've been teaching myself Python. And last night, into about an hour before I started here, I have just about got a 100% AD&D character generator working in Python. I would say I'm about 80% of the way there. I've been about 80% of the way there since around noon today. The first 80% was very easy. This last 20% has been a huge pain in the ass. So I have been writing it in Python. And I've just about I have it to the point where right now it will produce any allowable race and class combo for first edition AD&D. It will display their saving throws. If they're thieves, it'll show skills. If they have any spell casting ability, it'll display the number of spell slots. It'll generate hit points depending on what level you put them at. It won't let you make a chaotic evil dwarf paladin. It is 100%. It is 100% first edition AD&D compliant. Where I'm hitting snags, and I've actually resorted to asking Grok and ChatGPT for help here, is the program will crash if you go to save your character and you say, like, let's say your character is John the Paladin, and you're typing away and you accidentally hit the / key right as you hit enter. It won't save it and it will crash. That means all the work you did for John the Paladin is gone. So what I'm trying to do is sanitize the file save. It will save a JSON file. It will save a HTML file. It will save a text file, whatever format. Oh, I have all my source code. Trust me, I have all my source code. Now, you might think, and you would be right, big deal, character generators. There's one embedded on the front page of Dragon's Foot. I can go there and use it all day long. I'm not just making a character generator. I wanted to grind through this because I want to recreate the Dungeon Master's Assistant Volume 1 and Volume 2 in a way that runs 32-bit compliant, which means it'll run 64-bit compliant on modern systems. And I'm very close to being done with the character module. When the character module is done, I'm switching over to encounters. I'm just taking huge bites as I go. I'm really excited about this. I was astounded because I got as far in Visual Basic as having character stat generator of roll 4d6 drop lowest and arrange to taste. Converting that over to Python was actually fairly easy. Don't ask me to tell you how to do it. I just did it. So once I did that, I mean, if you can randomly generate a number between 3 and 18, all the other methods of character generation are just fine. And then it's just a bunch of if-then statements. If you can set up one if-then statement, you're good to go. And then I started incorporating stuff about races and level limits and just on and on and on. This has been a long time to get this working. I say I started last night, but really it was a lot of trial and error before I sat down and concatenated everything. And it sucked. It sucked because there were false starts at this where I said, okay, well, you know what? Demi-human level, the demi-human level limit subroutine. I'll just be able to hunk this in and I'm going to write this, and I got it, and I got it working. And there was no way for me to stick it into the, I stuck it in the program, and I was trying to reference it and stuff just broke left, right, and center. What my next goal is going to be an encounter system. That means converting the monster manual into CSV, which is, it's tedious, but it's not difficult. Because it's every category as you go down the column in the monster manual. It's just every category across in a file, in just one giant CSV database. And then you just do a function call to read those in based on the monsters that you, the dungeon master, say you want. One thing that I'm going to make better that Dungeon Master's Assistant didn't do, and I hated this. If I just wanted to have a fight with a bugbear captain, I'd have to generate enough bugbears for it to spit out a captain at me. It shows if you have Dungeon Master's Assistant encounters, which now that I think on it is volume 1. If you just have encounters, it shows in the monster listing, bugbear, chieftain. You can't select it. This monster does not have the listing that you are looking for. But there's so much more I want to add. How many times have you guys been playing AD&D? How many times have you guys been playing AD&D and you roll for a wandering monster in the dungeon and you hit it, and the wandering monster is a party? It's a party. It's a party of adventurers. Right then, right there, as a dungeon master, unless you have done a crap ton of work and you have a party of this level, party of this level, party that you have them all pre-generated, and enough of them that it's not a big hassle for, or rather if it happens multiple times, the players aren't going to go, this seems suspiciously a lot like the last party we ran into. Imagine being able to click a button to type a command, and it generates a fresh 4th level adventuring party for you. Imagine your party, your players say that their party, we're in the city of Greyhawk, we're going to journey all the way to High Folk. We're going to go more or less by this route. And even if it is right then, right there, it's like 15 minutes into the evening, you can't tell them, okay, well, we'll meet back next week and I'll tell you guys what happens. And you don't want to sit there rolling dice over and over again. You can say, okay, that's 25 hexes. That's over land. They're going to cross over the river at. That counts as a marsh hex. Okay. You type in a few commands. Whack. Full journey. Any encounters? Everything. Just generate it out at you. That is my end goal. And the fact that I have just by last night sitting down and, yes, asking AI for help when I would get stuck, to do this. It's going to take some time, but it's going to work out. When I finish, now, anybody who's played with generative AI, you can tell me, you guys can tell me, if this is completely preposterous. I asked Grok and I asked ChatGPT, if I give you a Python file, can you turn that into C#? I wrote a little example hello world program in Python. I asked ChatGPT, it turned it into C#. I asked Grok, it turned it into C#. Haven't compiled and run them, but the little bit I know about C#, they're both fine, and they're both identical. So far, my character generator is about 2,300 lines. That may be a little different. That may be more than it can chew, you know. Michael Dale, I actually talked to Doomsday. He and I are kind of kicking things around. Well, C#, C++, Visual C, something that I can compile in Windows, and then I can make a lovely graphical user interface for. Drop-down menus. No anti-intuitive keyboard commands. Mouse clicks. Take care, Rob Turner. C++, okay. Hey, Dungeon Minister, how are you? Mike Wilson Art says, I use AI for editorial assistance, but will ultimately make the final decision on how my writing looks. Same. Yeah, I mean, how these end up being presented is up to me. Why does this keep failing right here? Type stuff, if I can just feel. Because the thing is, I know people who can code. They don't want to sit and read my silly D&D stuff. Most of them have JOBS jobs. And even if they do want to look at it, it's going to be hours. Well, what would you like me to break of yours, Dungeon Minister? I started so late and I have so few people viewing. Right now we have 15 of you folks. I'm sorry, 26 of you folks watching over on YouTube and 15 folks watching on Twitter. That's like the old joke. You know what I gave up for Lent? Hope. But yeah, I thought about QuickTime. David Brown, I have thought about it. PyQt may be the thing, but the thing is, I want somebody to be able to put this on a flash drive, plug it in their laptop, and just go to town. Now, I was thinking about this today because people are going to last. What are you giving up for Lent? Hail Michael Connor, Unbreaded. I haven't gotten asked this question yet, so I don't want to create a straw man and say, lots of people have asked me, because you guys are the first people I've talked to about this, other than my wife, who's like, oh, that's nice. And a couple of other people who are like, hey, that's pretty cool. Doomsword being one of them. But here's the thing. In case anybody is curious, will I convert this over to Java to run on Android? No, probably not. Will I convert this to iOS? Absolutely not. Getting over that wall and getting it where you could run it on an iDevice is just beyond my scope. If somebody wanted to team with me and take a whack at it to get it working on Mac OS, which I mean is just BSD, that's fine. I just, again, the same goes for Linux, or any other weird OS out there. What about Atari TOS? Probably not. Amiga OS? Probably not. I still use a DOS machine. Will you make it run on DOS? No. So basic, believe it or not, I started with the idea of just doing it in basic because I know how basic works. And I was like, oh, what was Eagle Basic, I think, on the PC? I still got a few things that I use that run in Eagle Basic that I wrote to work in Eagle Basic. But yeah, I just, I was like, is this even going to compile? And even if it does, Bill, what's a .bas file? Well, you have to download a basic interpreter. Hello? You still there? Hello? TI 84 plus. Hey, if I thought it would fit. "12-inch floppy disks. So far, my character generation code alone is 56K, and I think, well, you're thinking of 8-inch discs, but I think an 8-inch disc is like 96K. So, yes, hypothetically, I could release it on 8-inch floppy disk. Yeah, just put it on punch cards. I'll ask ChatGPT to convert it to JCL, job control language, for the IBM S360. Yes, I need some cards punched, please. Could you run it from a tape drive? You can install it from a tape. Download it, compile it, save it to a 1/4-inch cassette, and then load it back in off a 1/4-inch cassette. Yeah, I suppose you could do that. One thing that has thrown me for the longest time with modern coding, and I will tell you guys this for free. Okay, the only language that I ever completely understood until now, and there's massive conditionals on that, is BASIC. I understand how BASIC works. BASIC has line numbers. Line 10 does something different from line 20. If line 20 needs something line 10 did, line 20 will go to line 10. If line 10 needs to give something to line 20, it will go to line 20. If we need a thing that is constantly called and referenced, we can have a subroutine, go sub, and then return. If we need data storage, we can have lines of data, just data. And we can read data. We can read line number. Very simple, very easy, very precise. Very much not used anymore by anyone. So in learning structured languages, those nested brackets, when I started this last night, I spent 20 minutes randomly sticking a curly Q bracket in different places and on different lines to fix a syntax error. It was so frustrating. Yes, but it worked, Dice Tales. It worked. I wrote some games in BASIC. A lot of spaghetti code, but they worked. I had a tape drive for about a year. My first computer was a Commodore VIC-20 with a 1531 data set. 3.5K of RAM, a 1.9K after you turn the machine on. And it loaded BASIC. And that data set, very slow, very slow. Then, thank you, Dice Tales. Real men, real men stand there with ultra fine wires and just shock the code right onto the chip as they need it. But got a Commodore 64, still had the data set. So for about a year there, stuff was loaded in off of cassette. Then I got a floppy drive and a whole mess of floppy games for Christmas. And I was set. And if I hadn't had a power brick failure, I probably would have used that thing up until my folks bought me an Amiga like 6 years later. But when the power brick failed, they thought, oh crap, his computer's down. How's he going to write reports for school and stuff? And they rushed out and bought me a Commodore 128, which I never used in C128, except to wistfully play with its extended basic 10, I think, or 8, I can't remember, that let you actually draw stuff on the screen, which is what I wanted for my games programming instead of poke. But Michael Connor brings up something interesting. Printing characters, having trouble printing characters you design. My hope is that the program will, I will be able to add printer functionality. Once I get the character generator completely built, I'm going to consider it the alpha for what I'm doing. I'm going to retain it. I'm going to keep it. And I'm going to hopefully be able to make it a module of the Dungeon Master's Assistant, because I will be calling back to it. If we go back to that randomly generating a party for a wandering monster encounter, I'll have to lean heavily into it. Did I ever record? No. I did not record programs off of radio. I know that was a thing like in the UK, but I did not. This is so serendipitous because I was talking to my daughter today. She watches my older daughter for yoinks. She watches or for yucks rather. She watches a guy named Keddy Carius. Keddy I don't know, but he's an odd British fellow comic video games guy. I gotta say, I admire his commitment to the bit. Sometimes when he's reviewing like video game, like this is a really rare video game controller. It was crap. I bought one new in box off of eBay just to show you how crap it was. And then at the end of this skit/review, he'll light it on fire. Like holy shit, dude. There's like 5 of those left in the world. But I didn't know it was a thing in the U.S., Gonzalo Lira. Michael Dale, very good. Hey everybody, I sent Bill a secret email. Bill, don't share that email. But he was reviewing a game made for the, I hate saying this, but it's the proper way to say it. Saying this causes me stomach distress. ZX Spectrum, which was an objectively bad personal computer, but it was the most popular computer in the United Kingdom because their economy was in the toilet a lot longer than our economy was in the toilet. So while, we were living large with Apple IIs and Commodore 64s, the average middle class home that had a computer was kind of crawling along with the ZX Spectrum. But of course his stuff is for Gen Alpha and Gen Z and stuff like that. So he said, these games came on tape, and he put a tape in his boom box. And of course it's just, the kilobaud screeching of it. And I was explaining to Charlotte, there was actually a Spectrum game that came on the back of an album. I have the album around here, which I had forgotten that it was that one, but it is a concept album, a prog rock concept album of War of the Worlds. And the guy who recorded the album, one of the tracks, or on the B side of one of the vinyl, has a game for the Spectrum, and there were instructions on, okay, you put the record on your turntable and you plug it in. Yeah, so Dungeon Minister, you had the U.S. import. They built the Sinclair Spectrum, the ZX, here in the United States as the Timex Sinclair. So yeah, there was this prog rock opera version of the War of the Worlds, and there was a game for the Sinclair on there, and they told how to hook it up, and now we know that. It was just, like I said, a little bit of serendipity. Yeah, had those like rubber calculator keys on it that were far enough apart to be inconvenient to type, but close enough together you could absolutely screw something up. You guys know how a keyboard has a space bar on it? Look this thing up. Look up the Sinclair. You will not see a space bar on the Sinclair. There is a button all the way over on the right-hand side completely indistinguishable from all the other rubber buttons, and you mash that for space. Terrible computer. Absolutely abysmal computer. The only good thing about it in the United States was you could buy it as a kit and learn electronics by putting it together. And then learn how bad electronics suck. I will say this. I will say this about it. Most of my ire is directed at two features of it. The fact that it has Z in its name when it is Z. You don't go to the Zadoo. You don't see a Zadebra. You don't order a nice steaming plate of Zadidi. Z. It is Z. Anyway. You don't talk about B actor Robert Zadar. Oh, wait. Yeah, you do. But if you look in old computer magazines at the time, particularly those from the UK, there were a lot of third-party companies that made at least better keyboards for it. Like you could just buy a keyboard that sat on top of it and had proper keys. No, I live in the South, Dungeon Minister. My name is Beale. My mother, God rest her soul. Beale. Beale, come and pick me and your daddy up for lunch. Beale. By the way, Dungeon Minister, Zed was also the name of Sean Connery's character in Zardoz. So every time you try and think of that computer that you had and the fact that Z is pronounced Zed, so you claim, I want that image to flash into your head. It's called aversion therapy, guys. I'm trying to mess with them. Yeah, the Timex. So the Timex company wanted to get into the home computer business. After the video games crash, home computer sales took off. Everybody scrambled to get in home computer sales. Texas Instrument had the TI-99, which that and the TI-99 4A on paper should have eaten everyone's lunch. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Commodore had been going since like 1977. Apple had been going since 77. Atari since 78, possibly 77. Thank you. Wonderful Wizard of Games. Yes. And yeah, Timex cut a deal with Sinclair Research in the UK to license build the Timex ZX Sinclair here in the United States. But the thing about it was only $99. Commodore saw that thing come in and they dropped the price of the VIC-20. Like a VIC-20 with a data set was $129. Full travel keys, full color graphics. Much slower. I think the Spectrum ran at like 4 megahertz, or even if it was only 2 megahertz, that's still twice as fast as the VIC. But yeah. So they got pushed out real fast. My mother's brother-in-law had one. He built his from a kit. And my girlfriend's dad had like a deluxe model. I remember it was silver and had slightly better keys. And we played 1 or 2 games on it when I went over to her house once. These are classy people with a K. I remember because we went into the parents' bedroom, which was okay with them. We went in there and sat down, and he was like, her mom or somebody was like, "Oh, if you guys want to play with the computer, that's fine." And we go over, and the memory module on the back was a brick, and it plugged into the cartridge slot. Well, at least on the American model, there was just enough play behind that it could stress the cartridge port a little bit. So it was recommended you put something under it. It was a Penthouse Forum magazine that he had propping his up. I guess if I'd been a little bit more observant of a 12 or 13-year-old, I probably would have realized that the mother and father were freaks. But anyway, not that they had one of those just out in front of the kids, just like no consideration. But anyway, old computers, the Spectrum, code, yes, code. Back to what I was talking about. So I'm on a crusade. To bring a modern interpretation of the Dungeon Master's Assistant with even more features to the desktop. When will it be? I don't know. But this I can tell you, it is in progress. This isn't a notional thing. In the past, like if I had told you that I had been poking around with it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, you would be right in saying, yeah, whatever, Bill. But it is actually in progress right now. The question to you guys is, do it in the Unreal Engine. Yeah, my character generator in Unreal Engine. Why I generated a female elf. Why does she have a big square lantern jaw? With this program I'm working on, have options for making my own custom items or classes. See, maybe. And the maybe is this. And I don't want to sound dismissive or ugly about it. At this juncture, like if you said, if I said, hey, it's done, it's ready, I'm going to share it with you guys, and you asked me that, my answer would be is, how good are you at programming Python? Not to be dismissive or hateful towards you. That's not why I say it like that. The reason I say that right now is I don't know how to implement that. Like I could say, okay, enter a class, C, custom class. Okay. Enter the name of your class. Palo Wizard. He's a Palo Wizard. It's like a paladin and a wizard, a Palo Wizard. Okay, Palo Wizard. What hit dice did they use? D7s. Okay, a D7. And you're done, right? Like I would, doing stuff like creating a matrix for the experience table and saving throws and all that stuff. That's almost you'd have to crack the code open and go into the catalog function that classes are stored under and add it in, and then make sure the rest of the software is also appropriately adjusted so that it's giving that option as a class. So at this point, I said catalog, I meant dictionary. Thank you. Thank you, Gonzalo. I meant it. See, that's how new I am at this. Dictionary. I've been calling them catalogs for weeks when I've been thinking about this. The catalog, the dictionary, Bill. It's called a dictionary file. Damn it. Yeah, coding for custom items and classes. The only thing I can say for sure is when I get to the monster creation section, cracking open the CSV file for monsters and inserting something is going to be easy. It is, I mean, CSV is literally just, here's the header across the top. And that is the same as, I mean, our headers in our CSV for, I say our, I hope you guys will get your hands on this. You know, it's going to be frequency, number, armor class, move, hit dice, percent layer, treasure, number attacks, damage attacks, special defense, magic resist, int, align, size, psionic ability, and then attack defense if that's yes. Horizontally, and then the left-handmost column is the name of the creature. And then I just take all the data in here for every monster and put it in there. So putting a custom monster in, it's going to be very, very easy. Very, very easy. So that part, creating your own custom monsters, I intend to make so much easier than the Dungeon Master's Assistant ever did. To this day, I have looked at the files in the Dungeon Master's Assistant in a hex editor. I have no idea how the, like, CSV would be recognizable. I've looked at a lot of stuff in hex editors. When I learned to use a hex editor, my buddy Matt showed me how to use a hex editor for the game Mech Warrior: The Crescent Hawk's Inception for the Amiga back in the day. And even though the game itself only dealt with light battle mechs, buried in all the code was all the stuff for heavy battle mechs, for other mechs of different weight classes and engine speeds and everything else. So you could just go in and hex edit, and instead of, like, you know, okay, my lance of 3 marauders and a warhammer are facing, you know, 2 Cretan locusts. It's like, yeah, 3 marauders and a warhammer against a Cretan stalker and a Cretan atlas, you know, stuff like that. A lot of fun. Thank you, Gonzalo. I really appreciate that. I really, really do. Well, you can contribute in other ways. Just kidding. But so, you know, you had to know how to go in and hex edit the game. And once Matt showed me how to do that, and I started to learn a little bit of, you know, octal values and so on, like, you know, it was fun and easy to do. And I basically just started cracking stuff left, right, and center. And yeah, I kind of wish I was in y'all's shoes. I wish I had a real career, but that's not no career for you, Mr. Sylvie. So I do this. But I got my hands on I got my feet wet and my hands dirty hex editing, and I've gone into the files for Dungeon Master's Assistant Volume 1. Oh man, and maybe they didn't make it easy to figure out on purpose. Thank you, Gonzalo. I appreciate that. I'll leave your ad up there. You guys should go check it out at the GUOGC. Let's go to the GUOGC. But anyway, so that was kind of the big announcement tonight. That I'm reinventing the wheel again. Hopefully, it's not going to wind up as just a bunch of stuff in a folder in my documents. It says DM's assistant rewrite program files important, and then never get touched again. But I'm on a roll. Maybe it's a manic phase. I don't know. I did all the laundry today, so maybe, like I said, maybe I'm just entering a manic phase, and tomorrow I'll just kind of stare at the ceiling listening to a dial tone in the brain. I don't know. I don't know. I got to keep moving forward with it, guys. Got to keep moving forward with it. I hope I've got something complete to show y'all soon. I really do. But when it's done, everybody at Master Thief level will get a crack at it first. Everyone at Master Thief level, whether you support me here on the channel or over on Patreon, as a channel member, or a Master Thief Patreon, will get a crack at. I owe you guys big time. My server kicked the email back. Let you know if it works. Well, let's see. That is the Master Thief level, Gonzalo. That is the $10 level. Did I get an email? Oh, yeah. Okay. That's very neat, and I'm going to check that out. Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Michael. Master Ninja theme song. But I think that just about does it for me tonight, guys. I'm pretty happy that I've got. I intend to have some fun with that. I'm gonna try some things with it. I'm gonna try some things with it. Like you said, top secret. Thank you all. I mean, at 24, I think we had like 29 at tops. 31 watching over on Twitter, X, whatever it's called. Thank you all very much. So anyway, tomorrow night we're gonna be back. We're gonna play some classic Gamma World. That's right. We're gonna play some classic Gamma World tomorrow night. I gotta learn to stop looking away. You guys can't hear me talk out of the back of my head, and this microphone really only works well when I'm doing this. When I'm practically having marital relations with this microphone right now. So thank you everybody for being here tonight, and please let me know if you have any questions about GUOGC, about this program. I will make regular announcements about how this program is proceeding, and I very much hope that you guys are as excited about it as I am. I hope one day that I can hand to the community a free working, works anywhere, works in Windows, works on anyone's computer, Dungeon Master's assistant that just goes for classic D&D. So tune in tomorrow night, guys. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already clicked that subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're watching this after the fact, leave a comment down below and tell me what you liked about it so much, and I'll do more of that. Barring any news, you will see me the next time live tomorrow night when we will have Kennick, we will have Doomsword, we will have Kulit, Kevin, and we will have Yang Yan Zhao here. So tune in, have fun, and one of the first wandering monsters that I'm going to put in the new Dungeon Master's Assistant? That's right. It's owl bears. Good night, guys. Love you all. Oh, and big thanks, big thanks to Gonzalo Lira for the super chats. It helps more than you know.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the